All right, and we're just gonna get right into it. And there's gonna be a fair amount of me kind of going back and forth between like just the internet for some things and this sheet. So just kind of bear with me at times if there's any technology issues. But here we go. So like I said, it's kind of a choose your own adventure thing. So what we're gonna do first is, as a class, we're gonna choose a profession. So does anybody have any idea what they might want to do down the line? I know we did the FBI example yesterday. You said law. You want to go with the lawyer thing, or do you want to go with something different? Anybody have any other ideas? Anybody want to counteract the lawyer? Do you know what kind of law? Criminal law. All right, we did that in the first period too, so that's actually helps. So criminal law. All right, if we were to look that up, and like I said, we did this in the first class, so I'm not going to re-go over that. But the profession that we choose is a lawyer. And the average salary, if you start out, you obviously make a little bit less, but then you work your way up, become partner or whatever it may be, was around like 80 to 150,000. So I cut that in the middle and said, let's go with, in this case, why don't we do a little bit different? Let's go with like 120,000. All right. So every year, criminal lawyer, you're going to make $120,000. What's that? There's a good amount. All right. $120,000 to be a criminal lawyer. And what we're going to do now is calculate the monthly income that we'll have. So in order to find if that's my annual salary, how much would I make each year? Or how much would I make each month? Sorry. $10,000, right? Because you take 120,000 divided by 12 to get $10,000 each month. Now, here's a little side note. When you get a job, it'll tell you what your salary is, right? So you're projected to make a certain amount. However, there's so many things that get deducted from your paycheck: taxes, Medicare, health insurance, things like that. I think it's 25 or 26, but if you get a full-time job, like for me, for example, like teachers, they could get like health benefits, like vision, dental, health, all that stuff. So like if I get a full contract somewhere, I would take that and just get off theirs. So I'm not, you know what I mean? But that gets taken out as well, right? So each month, we're not going to do that for just the sake of the activity, but you could really deduct even, I would say roughly like 20% of your paycheck from taxes. Okay. So just to show you what that looks like, you can take about $24,000 out of your paycheck. Not your paycheck, out of your yearly.
But then you get like your income tax, right? You get like money back.
So you'll get money back, yeah, but it's not nearly $24,000. Then you get, yeah. So you take this out, you get to 96, which then you divide by 12, which is about 8,000. So do you want to go with 8,000 or 10,000? Why don't we go with the real? All right, we'll go with realistic. That's fine. So let's cross this out. Let's go with $8,000 a month after taxes. All right. And that's the number that we are going to work with. So let's keep this in mind for later on. All right. I'm going to circle it so we remember that our $120,000 salary after taxes became $96,000, which we divided them by 12 to get $8,000 a month. All right. Well, you can't just roll out of bed and become a lawyer, right? You need to go to school to become a lawyer. So what we're going to do now is choose a college or university to attend.
I don't know you scholarships.
Yale.
Yeah.
Yale. You want to go with Harvard or Yale?
I'm going to UPenn. I'm not paying anything for college.
Either you.
Okay.
UPenn.
I'm just kidding.
I say that's
Yep.
Lofty.
I'm just kidding.
All right, so which one of those 3 Ivy League schools are we going to? Harvard, Yale, or Penn?
Penn is so much closer.
Let's go with Penn. And the only reason I'm saying Penn is
State's
Penn, UPenn.
Yeah.
No, Penn State is not an Ivy League school.
It's cheaper and.
The only reason I'm saying that is because it's probably cheaper than Harvard or Yale. But also, if you choose to go out of state for school, again, something that you might not know, you don't receive state aid. So like if you were to go to college, you get financial aid. So you fill out the FAFSA, they give you a certain amount of money from federal. And if you stay in state, they give you state aid. But if you go out of state, you obviously don't get state aid. So if you want to be a sorority girl at University of Alabama, you're not going to get state aid. Okay. And your tuition, the in-state tuition in Alabama is $13,000 and the out of state's like $48,000.
I would not just go to college.
You'd be surprised.
I would go purely for education.
Okay.
Be a baker plus 30.
Yeah, what, you just- You are running the worst bakery ever. The least flexible bakery. No, all right. So we'll go to Penn. But anyway, so that's actually a fact. So take that with you if that's something you didn't know. That if you go out of state, you don't get state aid. Now it's not a crazy amount. It's not like it takes away like $20,000, but it helps you a little bit. All right. We're about to look it up. So we're going to UPenn. This class, last class went to Penn State. So UPenn undergrad tuition. Woo! $57,770, and you also have to go to law school.
Minus scholarships. I mean,
Well,
UPenn,
okay.
UPenn has a law school in it, so you can take the double
Let's do it.
program.
I just don't have a concept of
Yeah, that's clearly. So here's what we're gonna do. We went to UPenn. All right, we're smarty pants people, and spell it UPenn. All right. And UPenn we saw was $57,770 a year. All right. Sure, it's in state. Which is, yeah, it's a lot. Let's assume the average college student receives about $10,000 in financial aid, and we'll say that your family helps you pay about $5,000 also. All right. Now everybody's situation is different. Let me preface that, right? Maybe your parents help you out with everything. Maybe your parents help you out with nothing, which is, whatever your situation is okay. But from this total number, 57,770, we're just going to subtract 15,000 in total aid. So state, federal, and whatever you're getting help with. Okay. So minus 15,000. Somebody do that calculation for me. So 42,770. Okay. And that's how much you are left with in loans.
Is this yearly or like the whole college?
So that's yearly.
Oh, God. So we have to times this by 4.
So you have to multiply it by 4. In fact, you know what? Before we move on from this, I actually want to double check something. I want to go to their actual site
Wait,
because
are they-
after I saw this, I just stopped. But I want to see what the actual fees and all that stuff become.
Are our parents helping us 5,000 total?
Each year. So we're just going to
each
multiply
year?
it by 4. Yeah.
Okay.
The heck? University.
Oh. A good thing I didn't ask that, because I was gonna say, isn't University of Pennsylvania a private school, but this?
Yep.
I
Welcome.
know this girl who gets like horrible
Thanks for-
grades, like straight D's, and she's going to university.
It all
Financial.
depends about- Oh, Maria's sister?
Yeah, she's like smart.
Maria's sister is going to UPenn?
I think so.
You're lying.
Is it in Pittsburgh? Like,
I know, it's right across from the village.
Oh, never mind.
But she's not going to UPenn.
She's going somewhere in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
Somewhere.
It's in Philly?
UPenn's in oh my
Yeah.
god, yeah,
It's like right next to Jackson.
it's in like West Philly,
Never mind, forget it.
West-ish.
But I know she's going to a good school. She got it from the rest. But she gets like.
She's going to UPenn. She's going to UPenn or no?
No, she's going somewhere in like.
All right. Well, their site. Here we go. Cost of meet. Freak out for a second. Estimate your cost. I don't want to do this on my own. I want to just give me a number, man. All right. This is taking way too long. So we're gonna go with the number that we went with, and that's gonna be that. All right. All right. So $42,770. What is it?
It's the tuition is 57,770.
But what are all the other fees and all that stuff?
Books, boarding, is like 19,404.
For books?
And like room, like, to live there.
To live there too. So what's the total then?
19,494.
90,000?
19.
No, I'm saying, but add that to the tuition.
Oh, add that to this? Okay. But
So
we
it's
have to go
about
from-
78,000. Yeah, which is ridiculous.
My $5 an hour for teachers is paying.
62,002.
After you subtract the 15,000. All right. We'll go with 42. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt. We'll go with 42. Maybe you got more aid. All right. So we'll go $42,770. All right. Jeez Louise. This is okay though. I mean, I know we're kind of getting off the rails, but we allow ourselves to do that for this activity. Like I want this to be a little bit more of a discussion. Yeah, there you go. We're commuting. So $42,770. And like we said, we have to multiply that by 4 to find out how much it's going to be total. All right. So 42,770 times by 4 gives me about $171,080. All right. So over the course of 4 years at the University of Penn studying criminal law, you've acquired $171,000 in debt.
And you have to go to
You don't
2 more
even
years
make that much
for
in a
law
year
school.
at
Right.
your job.
I thought it was 2.
My brother went for 3. Maybe it depends on the school. Maybe if you start at Penn and you end at Penn, it's 3. Now hold on a second. $171,000. Yeah, that sucks. But guess what else happens?
Interesting.
No loan or debt that you ever have is exactly that number in the end that you have to pay back. It's going to gain interest, just like your mortgage is going to gain interest. And the amount that you have to pay for your house back is more than what they've originally told you before. Remember Mrs. Q was sitting here yesterday. She told us that. So we're going to figure out, what was it? 171,080.
Yeah.
$171,000 is going to gain interest per month over 20 years, 5%, which is actually a pretty decent interest rate for some student loans because some of them are like 7 or 8%, which stinks. And we're going to compound that semi-annually. All right. So let's fill out all of our variables here. Remember this. So this is our compound interest equation. All right. A is our final amount. We don't know what that loan amount is, right? P is our principal. What am I going to plug in for the principal? Right. $171,080. My interest rate is 5%. What's that as a decimal? 0.05. This is being compounded monthly, or excuse me, compounded semi-annually. So how many times does that happen a year? 2. Over the course of 20 years. All right. I'll give you that much time to pay everything off. Okay. So when I plug all of those things in, so 171,080, 1 plus 0.05 divided by 2 raised to the 2 times 20.
Costs so much money
Just to live there,
just in general.
just to be a person. Is
Just
that what
to
you're
be a
saying?
person, like, even like the day you're born, like all the hospital, it costs money to be born.
Yeah.
It's BS. Then you have to pay for food.
If humanity had a choice to like just all vibe together and take that shit.
Yeah, that would be.
Greed. That's what happened. All right. What is 0.05 divided by 2?
It's like 0.2.
0.025.
Yeah.
0.025.
Yeah.
And if I add 1 to that, it's 1.025 raised to the 40th power. All right. Sure is. 1.025 raised to the 40th power is 2.68506, whatever. Let's multiply that by our total, 171,080. And realistically, now, it might be compounded more often, which could help. The interest rate might be smaller, which could help. You could also finance this in a different way. So you're able to take out more loans, X, Y, and Z. But for the sake of the activity, you're really paying $459,360.72 for your education. Close to $500,000. All right. So 459,360.72. Sure is. It's a lot of money. But what we're going to do now, so yeah, it looks like a lot right at this moment, right? That grand total is a ton. But what we're going to do is we're going to take that and divide it by the 20 years that we're going to spend paying it off. All right. So we'll take it and divide it by 20, which gives us $22,968 a year. And then we'll divide that by 12. So hold on a second. We had $22,968.03. Divide that by 12 to figure out roughly how much we're going to pay each month, which is about $1,914 in student loans.
That does.
Because then you also have to pay to live.
Well, that's what we're about to get to.
You're not gonna live in your parents' house for 20 years.
$1,914. I would suggest doing that for a point in time. Like, I mean, I'm 23. I don't have my own place, but that's because I'm saving to like eventually buy. You're gonna live on top of the bakery.
Yeah, you know how like people live at their, like they have apartments on top.
Yeah.
To do that.
So when it closes at 3 o'clock, you should go upstairs and hear people at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, there's really no escape from that. All right, so $1,914 a month. Yikes!
Can we change the school?
Not now. We already invested. We're already deep. All right. So the lawyer from UPenn. Lawyer from UPenn, where are we living? Let's choose a place to live.
No, we're living at home.
So last class chose like Miami. All right.
We're living in Miami, going to school in Pennsylvania.
No. Well, yeah, we went to Penn State in the last class and then lived in Miami, and we're lawyers and now.
Wait, Texas is the cheapest place to get houses.
Okay. You want to do Texas?
Even though Texas is not a fun place to live.
No.
I'm sure there's perks. I have a buddy who lives in Texas.
If you look at a mansion that would be like $15 million in California would be like $2 million in Texas.
Which is crazy. So we want to do Texas to try and save some money, make up some ground.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
later,
Yeah.
All right. Where at in Texas? I just typed in Texas. Austin.
Oh,
Austin, Texas.
This would be a hard property taxes.
Or no, just live in the middle of nowhere, but then we'll get no clients.
See, look, 399,000 for that nice house.
Yeah, that's how like much my house is. My house is small.
Like, and this is a nice like town in Texas.
So why don't
We have a
you?
family, we don't need a big house if we don't have.
I mean, it's gonna be 20 years.
Well, we're picking a. Wait, let's pick a home. Let's assume that we're not. Then I have to go through and do like your wife's or your husband's or your spouse, whatever it is, their mortgage or their interest and all that stuff. And what are we thinking? This is pretty sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That looks like
that's
modern.
expensive.
It's expensive.
We
Something
don't
cheaper.
have a lot of
That one is like
expense.
double that.
We need something cheaper than our student loans.
What about this right here?
Yeah, I agree with that one.
It's a nice house, right?
Yeah, that's all like 300,000.
We'll go with 300,000. All right. So choose the place. Choose a place to live. So we went with Austin, Texas. Love it. You guys are all big travelers. All right. And what's nice here is that we're lucky enough to pay off 20% of our house in a down payment, which is traditionally like this is actually another thing too. If you go to buy a house, a lot of times it's helpful to do put down 20% of it. So like if it's $100,000 house, you want to put down $20,000, right? So then your mortgage is obviously a lot less. So our house was what, 300,000 it was? Okay. What do I have to multiply that by to find what 20% of it is? Right, so multiply it by 0.2 and then subtract that from the total. So 20% of, ooh, I did divide, sorry. 60,000, good. So 60,000. So then what all we really need to pay is what? Exactly. $240,000. That house is pretty nice too. What was that? 3 bedrooms, 3 bath for
Let's look at the
200
pictures.
240,000. You
Watch how the pictures inside are terrible. We just bought a house. Terrible.
want yeah, we're not getting too far into this. All right, 240,000. Okay. Now, what I could do again is say, let's take a look at an interest rate. Let's take a look at, how long we're paying this off, how much it's going to actually grow to, and make that number a lot larger than it. But just for the sake of time and stuff like that, why don't we just use that number for our mortgage? All right. So part A, it says, how much do we still need to pay? That's what we figured out right here with the 240. Now we're going to find the mortgage payment over a traditional 30-year mortgage. So we talked about that in class yesterday too, right? A lot of times you pay off your house over the course of, the 15-year mortgages, 30 years. Most people, I would imagine, are 30-year mortgages. Okay. So we'll take 240. And what do I have to do with that in 30 to find a year? Divide it. So 240 divided by 30 is 8,000. And then 8,000, how much am I paying a month? Good. Which is 600, we'll say, call it like $670, $670.
Like 2,000 a month with school in your.
670 isn't bad.
I don't know.
Pretty good.
What was it yesterday? Then we have a mortgage. It was like 1,100. Good amount. All right, so $670. So let's recap what we've done so far. First off, does anybody have any questions about how we did any of this up until this point? So yeah, life's not the easiest thing to navigate, but it gets better.
Work
We-
can pay for my car.
So yeah, you go to the next page. So we chose to be a lawyer. We chose to go to UPenn. We found our salary for a month. We found our student loans. We found our mortgage payment for the place that we chose to live, which is in Austin, Texas. All right. Now what we're going to do is take into account just some other outside factors, right? Because it's not enough just to pay for school and pay for your house. You also have to get to work, right? So you have a car. So you have car payments between insurance, leasing, whatever you're doing. Grocery, other living expenses, right? You have to pay for food, to pay for, amenity, like the electricity, all that stuff, all those other living expenses. Insurance, so your health, your vision, your dental. Social life expenses. You're living in Austin, Texas. I imagine you're going out, doing whatever you want to do. Let's call it $300 a month. Rodeos, yeah, sure. So if you add all those up, 500 and 500 is 1,000, plus another 500 is 1,500. So the total, yeah, right, $1,500 for other expenses and things like that you have to worry about. All right. And what we're going to do now is take up all of our debts. So between our student loans, our mortgage, and all these other expenses, and we're just going to add them up. So if we go back to our student loan, it was 1,914. All right. $670 for mortgage, $1,500 for other expenses. And somebody tell me what that grand total is. $4,084. And what we're going to do now is take that number. So everything that we owe, right? And one thing that I mentioned in the first place that I want to mention here, always take care of your debts and all that stuff first, right? Like if you have a credit card, pay it off right away. Don't let that sit. If you have your car payment, pay it off right away, right? Otherwise it ruins your credit, in which case you can't buy a house and you can't buy a car and you can't do other things. So if you are young when you get your credit card, be very, very smart with that, okay? Use it sparingly, understand all the ins and outs of what you need to do, okay? Anyway, $4,084, and we're going to subtract that from our monthly income, which we said after taxes is about $8,000. So 8,000 minus 4,084, and we're left with what? 3,912, 16. Is that it? Okay, 3,916. And this is what you have left over. Savings, retirement, X, Y, and Z, whatever you wanted to spend it on. Now, keep in mind too, this is another thing that pops up. Say if you want to have kids or something like that, then all of these expenses quadruples. Not necessarily your loans or your debts or anything like that, or your mortgage payments, but your, just life expenses, your groceries for sure, right? It's ridiculous. It's a lot. So what we're gonna do now, all right? We're not gonna worry about any of that stuff, for the sake of the activity and time, which we still have a decent amount of. What we're gonna do is, this is completely arbitrary, so you can choose whatever you want to do, right? If you want to be logical about it, if you want to go crazy, whatever, you have $3,916 at your disposal each month. Okay. Now I would say you want to take care of yourself in the end. So now we're going to tie back to annuities, what we talked about yesterday. So say you have this like retirement fund that you want to put this into. Okay. Why don't you choose an amount? Somebody pick an amount that they want out of that $3,916. And we're going to put that in every month in this account for 30 years, 3.5%, and we're going to see how it grows. Go with 1,800. Anybody want to put in all 3,000? Nah. So 1,800. We'll go with 1,800. Hello.
Put the rest in stocks.
Yeah, sure. Why not? So we have our future value, which we don't know. All right. Our principal value is what we're plugging in. So that's 1,800. That's what we're taking out each month. Because so we have the 3,916, but we said out of that, how much are we taking and putting it away? Our interest rate's 3.5%. What's that as a decimal? 0.035. We're doing this monthly. It's going to be compounded, so we'll do it divided by 12 over the course of 30 years. So our T is 30. All right. So again, just assigning each of these variables a value based off of the situation that we have. Okay. And we're going to plug that into our formula. So we have FV is equal to 1,800 times 1 plus 0.035 divided by 12 raised to the 12 times 30th power minus 1 all over 0.035 divided by 12. Okay. Somebody do 0.035 divided by 12 for me and tell me what you get. So it's round to the nearest thousandth, which is then what? 0.003. If I add 1 to that, I get 1.003. 12 times 30 is 360. Divide that by 0.003. Okay. So if I were to go through and do this calculation, I have 1.003 to the 360th power. It's 2.9399, so on and so forth. Subtract 1. What's that? After 30 years.
Oh, after 30 years.
Yeah, no, this isn't after every year.
That's it.
So 1.940 will round that to. So 1,800. 1.940 divided by 0.003. Rounding it to the nearest thousandth again. It's about 646.67, whatever. Multiply that by 1,800. And after 30 years, you have about $1.1 million at your disposal. You're a millionaire. So the debts look horrible, right? The mortgage looks horrible. The social expenses look horrible. But if you're smart, you take care of yourself every month. And this can be financed too. You might put 1,800 away one month, and then 2,500 away one month, and then 500 away one month. Exactly. There could be a million things that you have to worry about. We talked about kids, all that stuff, but still a millionaire.
And then you can go on all the vacations.
Exactly. You can do whatever you want. So why do we do something like this? Like I talked about in the beginning of class. Yes, it's interesting to take a look at some of the formulas that we're using, talking about annuities, compound interest, all that stuff. But exactly what the title of this is, things to consider. Like maybe you didn't understand the fact that your debt accumulates and continues to grow from compound interest and stuff like that. Maybe you didn't understand, how mortgages worked and like the 30 years versus the 15 years, or the fact that can grow in interest. Some of these other expenses that you might not have thought about with insurance and cars and social life and all that stuff. How expensive school really is, especially if you're going to UPenn.
What happens if you just don't pay your debt and you don't have kids?
If you don't pay your debt,
And you don't have kids to pass it down
We start with credit. Right?
If you if you don't pay anything
If you
off,
don't
if you
pay
die, like you're saying if you die with debt,
Yeah. They just don't get the money.
I don't know. I feel like
Well, someone has to co-sign.
yeah, it could just go to somebody else, or like
If
things
I don't
things
have
could be
kids.
repossessed. Like
Parents have to co-sign.
If I don't have a
loans,
spouse
so-
and I don't have kids, my parents will debt.
That's a lot of debt.
yeah, you know what? I don't. That's you can ask a lawyer or something like that.
Maybe your baby will pay
Ask
off.
Jenna in 20 years.
Maybe the baby will pay
All right. So hopefully you took something away from this. I think it was like an interesting activity, gets everybody involved, and hopefully makes you think a little bit about the future and things that you need to consider. All right. So that's it for today. There's no homework over the weekend or anything like that. When we come into class on Monday, we'll kind of just continue with some different activities and stuff. And we'll pretty much then be good for the year. Honestly, I mean, think about it. There's only a couple of days left. So not really a whole lot left to take care of. All right. Those of you that are at home, have an awesome weekend. Enjoy the rest of your day as well. Those of you that are here, the bell is going to ring. So just, hold off until then. But other than that, have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Have a good weekend.
See you later.